Hello everybody, happy Tuesday, this time from Venice, Italy. Once again, fourth week in a row I'm speaking English, sorry, but like I said, I'm kinda in Italy on vacation, so no subtitling is happening this week. Next week it'll be back to German, or maybe if I feel brave enough, French. So last week I said I would try and follow up on the theme. We probed last week about, I suppose what I'll call it is cultural code switching, about how your attitude or personality changes when you use a different language. So I did do a little bit of Googling and found a couple different articles on it, and it's super interesting because there's not a lot of research that's been done on this, but the research that has been done on it kind of confirms what we were talking about, that this is an actual phenomena that happens. This is an actual thing multilingual people experience. So I'm going to include two of the articles in the description so you can read the whole things for yourself. One of them's 21 pages long, but knowledge. But let me just quote from that really quick. So in this article it takes an excerpt from a different study, but it uses the example of Portuguese people who went to France and French is their second language. And it calls it cultural frame switching, is what they termed it. But in this study, the participants, I'm quoting this now, the participants were then asked to tell the same story in another language. They were asked to tell a story in both languages, and subsequently interviewed about the experience of telling the story. So the researcher analyzed the discursive forms to show how the speakers presented themselves, and analyzed their own impression of how they presented themselves. So what he noticed was that he took one of them, whose name was apparently Isabel, and the little analysis that the researcher had written for this person was that in French she sounded like an angry, hip suburbanite, Lord knows what that means, but in Portuguese she seemed like a frustrated but patient, well-mannered bank customer who does not want to draw attention to the fact that she's an immigrant. Okay. And skimming through the same article, it talks about how when they told a story, with characters in it, the speakers used direct quotations to the same degree, but in their second language, French, they were more likely to present all the characters as speaking in more marked registers, more bourgeois, so to say. And here's nice quotation marks for you from Coven 2001, saying that people perform in a variety of cultural selves. And I just think that was interesting to take two people from the European continent and countries that are relatively close together, Portugal and France. The other little article I'm going to put in the description for you is from the psychologytoday.com, and it's an article called Change of Language, Change of Personality, so exactly what we're talking about. And it was written by this person who runs the Life of a Bilingual kind of column, and it starts off with a couple of quotes from three bilinguals. And I like this article because even though it focuses on bilinguals instead of multilingual or polyglot people, it takes speakers of more than just one dichotomy, so more than just the French-Portuguese speakers from the other article. This one has, for example, a Latina, Spanish, and American English speaker, a English and Greek speaker, and a Russian and English speaker. And I like it because in the beginning of the article it also uses the nice Czech proverb that says, learn a new language and get a new soul. Isn't that the point? One of my favorite little lines from this particular article is that this person conducted a study in which they asked Japanese American women to complete sentences in Japanese and English, and that the ending was very different depending on what language they used. So for example, one of the sentences was, when my wishes conflict with my family, and then one participant, her answer in Japanese was, it's a time of great unhappiness, but their answer in English was, I do what I want. which also brings into mind, and the article does go in to discuss it, but this is just these are my words now. It brings to mind for me the difference between the culture themselves, which makes you wonder if I'm a little bit less snarky or a little bit less likely to make a joke in German. Is it because I'm putting on the slightly more reservedness of the German people I interact with? In my personal opinion, Germans have a great sense of humor. This dry sense of humor, very Monty Python, but in a German sense. So it's not that Germans are completely reserved, but it's that they're definitely more maybe upright than Americans on a regular basis. So I'm going to end this little train of thought with one more quote from the second article that says, "What is taken as a personality shift due to a change of language may have little, if anything, to do with the language itself." Once again, this is the article referring to bilinguals, but it also questions biculturalness. I don't know if that's a word, I just made it up. This is a channel for language people. I can make up words if I want. And considering I'm taking a psycholinguistics class this upcoming semester in Heidelberg, I think I'm gonna see what more I can find on that. I think I'm kind of onto something here. Anyway, okay, that's it for me. So, greetings from Italy, and next week, more fun language that isn't English. Alright? Bye. See ya.